Calendula officinalis. So this is an annual, and it's self-seeding. The parts that we use for medicine are the flower, and when you harvest the flower, a new flower will grow. And so for this small patch here, I've already harvested the flower tops twice. One of the main uses that we see commonly is that it's used for wound healing. And so if you have abrasions or rash, any kind of cuts, the calendula succus is used, applied topically, and it helps with healing that wound more quickly. The other plant that we have here, does anyone see this little flower? Lavender actually overwinters here. You just have to mulch it really well. And it is a perennial. It's an amazing plant. It's antiseptic, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. So it helps to fight all kinds of infection. I use the essential oil of it because that's in a more potent form. And it's also great for cleaning. You know the word lavar, to wash? Lavender came from that root. It's also great for anxiety or insomnia. You can put a couple drops of the essential oil in your bath before you go to sleep, or put it a couple drops on your pillow, and it could help with falling asleep. We're actually gonna walk over this way. I love yarrow. It is wild, but you can also cultivate it, and it's probably growing in most fields. The parts that are used are the aerial parts, so the flowers and the leaves. And the best time to harvest it is when the flowers are really white. Once they start to turn gray, they're gone by a bit. It was used to help stop bleeding when soldiers or people were wounded. Are people familiar with the spit poultice? So you take the flower, chomp on it, mix it with some of your saliva, and then you put it on the wound. And it will stop bleeding very quickly. The way that it works internally is it actually helps improve circulation and reduce congestion. You can just have a couple yarrow flowers before or after your meal and just kind of help support your digestion. The little one here next to it is self-heal. You also see this growing in fields, prunella or self-heal. And also this is the flowers that are harvested. And often I'll just make an infusion with it, just a tea, and it's very good for sore throat. I think it's always really important when you're harvesting anything that your observation is keen, that you really look at a flower, look at a leaf, look at the stem, and know what it's like even throughout its growing life. When yarrow first comes up, all you're going to see are these little leaves right before it flowers for a long time. But right now for drying it, because I just love this herb so much, I'll cut it, so that the stems are, maybe a foot long or so, and then just tie it and hang it. Once it's dried, you garble it, which means that you just, you kind of go like this on the stem and the leaves come off and then the flowers come off, and then some people will just use the flowers. The flowers are more potent. I like the leaves as well. And then just store it in something that's airtight and shady. All right, we are gonna head up this way. So schissandra's perennial, and it's a vine. So in a little while, probably next summer, we'll have to build a trellis for it. And it produces red berries that are really delicious. And the berries are what's used for medicine. It's an adaptogen. Adaptogens help the physical, mental, emotional being adapt to stress, and it helps to improve resiliency, through times of challenges or through transitions. Adaptogens are more like tonics in that they're used on a daily basis for months. For comfrey, the parts that are used are the root and the leaf. It's great for cell regeneration. So whenever there's injury, whether it's internal or external, it helps to regenerate the cells so you heal more rapidly. Important time to harvest the leaf is before the plant flowers. So you may have heard that some people have been concerned about comfrey and liver toxicity, and then everyone stopped taking comfrey. Once it flowers, the leaf is higher in alkaloids, and the alkaloids are what can be a burden to the liver. When I think of harvesting medicine, I always think of where is the energy of the plant. In the fall, the energy goes into the root. And so I harvest roots in the fall. And I'll harvest, flowers right when it's flowering, and harvest the leaf, often before something is flowered or fruited, kind of looking at the ideal time for that plant.